Okay, here we go. Today on the 5 series, we're going to be looking at, for me, 5 perfect albums. Now, I didn't want to get too deep with this. I wanted to look at albums that, you know, somebody from your grandmother or grandfather down to your niece or nephew, your teenage niece or nephew, could understand and get into and appreciate. All right, I try to choose different genres so I don't obsess over my hip hop albums or my jazz albums. I try to mix it up. So hopefully these will be, for me, these are 5 perfect albums. Hopefully you'll get into them too. And we're gonna start off with Big Ben, George Ben. I mentioned this before in my 5 albums to get into Brazil series. It may have been 10 albums. Anyway, in my albums to get into Brazilian music series. It's a perfect record from beginning to end. I think it's George Ben's first album. It's just a brilliant record in the Brazilian samba, bossa tradition. And some of these songs have gone on to be standards, like Por Causa de Vós. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that right. Anybody Brazilian, can you tell me how to pronounce that? But I'm going to pronounce it Por Causa de Vós with my wannabe Portuguese accent. But anyway, brilliant record from beginning to end. The perfect album, George Ben, who went on to have a splendid career and is still having a splendid career. Michael Jackson, Off the Wall. We all know Michael Jackson, all right? His first solo album, he brought in Quincy Jones. It was a smart choice with the combination of Quincy Jones' superlative arrangements and Michael Jackson's out of this world talent. Created an album that from beginning to end is just track. There's no fillers. This is the theme with these albums. No fillers, just banging tracks from beginning to end. You probably have this album. You definitely know of this album. I like it more than Thriller personally. So anyway, and Thriller's a great album, but this is it. Off the Wall, the perfect album. Rock With You is on here. Off the Wall is on there. Nas, Illmatic, arguably the most celebrated album in hip hop history. I'm old enough to remember the hype around Nas before this album came out, and when it came out, it just delivered. It's only 10 tracks, but it's just Illmatic, man. It's just like from beginning to end, it's just track after track after track, consistency. How does he do it? New York State of Mind. I must have heard that track thousands of times, and to this day I still hear something different. Amazing record, as you probably know. Exile on Main Street, Rolling Stones. The Exile on Main Street Rolling Stones album, the Rolling Stones left the UK to go to France in the mid-70s and bunkered down in the south of France and made this incredible record. I'm a big Stones fan. I was always more of a Sticky Fingers guy for years, but over the years this album has just grown on me and it's just become arguably my favorite rock and roll album. I still love Sticky Fingers, but something about this, the way it's recorded, it's very loose, it's very organic and rootsy and bluesy, and it's a celebrated album for reasons. There's no album quite like it, and the recording levels on this album aren't that great, but it lends to it. It almost makes it even more special. So Rolling Stones, Exile on Main Street. And finally, come on, Miles Davis, A Kind of Blue. It's the biggest selling album in jazz history. It brought jazz to the masses in 1959 without compromising the essence of jazz and what it is. Miles Davis is a legend. This is a legendary album, and yeah, it rounds out the five perfect albums in my humble opinion. All right, thanks for the support, and as always, remember you can always check out a lot of this music that I highlight. You can always check it out on our YouTube channel, Good Fine Records YouTube channel, in the Fair Play sessions, or a number of other mixes that we have on our YouTube channel. And check out Hi-Fi Recluse on Spotify. All right, 5 perfect albums. Have a perfect day. Peace.